The bright lights of Madison Square Garden. This is Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com. Wednesday night NBA action. Non-conference play. The Golden State Warriors versus the New York Knicks in the Big Apple. Knicks opened up as 6.5-point home favorites. Can be found at 7 across the board at SBRodds.com. While the total has been the real story, in my opinion, 206 to 207. More on that move or any of the variants in that particular total at the end of this video. 1-6 in their last 7 road games. The Warriors, of course, coming off a 108-97 setback to the Indiana Pacers as 8.5-point road underdogs last night. A play you would have received at SBRvideos.com. I gave out the Indiana Pacers -8, while that one climbed over the total of 196.5. Third game in 4 days for the Warriors. Of course, they started this road trip with a 199 victory over Minnesota on Sunday, and this is also their 6th game since February 19th. February 19th was their first game after the All-Star break. 15-17 on the road, 8-4 versus Eastern Conference opponents. They are dangerous road underdogs if they weren't playing so many games in a row or in such a limited time frame. They haven't lost at this particular venue since 2008, and they are 15-4 straight up in their last 19 meetings with the Knicks. They are also 5-0 straight up and against the spread versus Atlantic Division opponents. That is the division that New York is currently leading in the Eastern Conference, and 32-13 against the spread their last 45 games against Atlantic Division opponents. Key number that I kind of handicapped in this game, once again, I'm not very keen on playing the Warriors in this game due to the amount of games they played recently, but they have held their last 3 opponents to 20% shooting from the three-point area, a very important category when handicapping against the Knicks, a team that likes to shoot from beyond the arc. Opponents 11 of 54 in those 3 games. Of course, all-star forward David Lee returns to Madison Square Garden. He's averaged 19.7 points and 15.7 rebounds in his last 3 games. He was an all-star this year, and he was a key figure in New York before moving on to Golden State. The New York Knicks haven't been playing very good basketball. They did manage to end a 4-game losing streak, picking up a 99-93 victory over the Philadelphia 76ers as 11-point home favorites last time out, and they've gone over the total in their last 3 games, 0-6-1 against the spread in the last 7 games, with so many varying statistics and the fact of the situation for both teams. I really don't have a side lean. I am going to be looking at the total here due to the fact that the Knicks are 5-3 straight up, 4-4 against the spread as home favorites of 6.5 to 9 points. But in those 8 games, the under is 6-2 in that situation. The Knicks do their best work at home. They are 20-8 on this floor, 8-3 versus non-conference foes, 94.6 points per game when hosting teams at Madison Square Garden, and they've gone under the total in 3 of their 4 home games with a betting total of 205 to 209.5, a very high number for a team like New York, especially on its home floor. The only time that the Knicks have gone over the total in that situation was against the Denver Nuggets when closing out a back-to-back situation. They're coming home from a 3-game road trip. The previous game in that situation was against the Chicago Bulls, one of the key rivals for the Knicks, also one of the more physical and defensive-minded teams in the Eastern Conference, and that game was preceded by a game at the Miami Heat. So that wasn't one of the better defensive situations for the Knicks to land in, and it went over the total. But I feel very certain that they're going to get after it against a tired team in this one. And also, when handicapping Golden State Warriors totals, whenever I see a high percentage of early action on the over and the line does not move or it creeps down slightly in the market, it really shows me that they have reached a level that is at the highest, at the premium level in terms of betting totals, because this team historically has loved to run and gone over the total. And they've been bad defensively on the road basically since the beginning of February. But I think this one's going to go under the total. The amount of games that Golden State has played, and also New York looking to turn around what's been recently a bad run. And this gives them a chance on the defensive end to actually win a game against an opponent that they haven't had very much success against. So I'm going to go under 207 in Wednesday night's game with the Golden State Warriors versus the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. For any further information on this game or any other on the NBA odds board, you can definitely follow me on Twitter at Jeff Grant Sports. And this has been another edition of Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com.